the more we enjoy success, the more I get nervous about messing it all up. So like the more I find it, this is a very personal thing, I find it difficult to take the next decision. I have immense respect for anybody who starts a business to get a loan. I mean, I don't know how on earth.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Just it'd be horrible.
Hi everybody and welcome to FEBE Founder Stories. Now I have got two founders who make the best goddamn salad you ever tasted. Seriously. So we've got Florian and James from the Salad Project.
Yes.
Now, congratulations for being in the Growth 100. And I discovered you guys just by going for a meeting in Oxford Street. And I saw the Salad Project. I hadn't heard of you, hadn't seen you, but I saw the queue. And you don't often see a queue. You don't often see a queue on Oxford Street when there's just obviously so much choice. So that's why I had to kind of, well, I started stalking you, didn't I? I sent you an email. I had to basically learn more about this incredible company. Anyway, I went the other day again and had an amazing salad, and it was absolutely stunning. So, what was the start of creating this incredible business, which is the Salad Project?
Thanks, John. Thanks for having us.
I mean, that's a hell of an intro. Can I just say that's a real heartfelt, like honestly, your salads were stunning. Absolutely beautiful. And, you know, it's just great.
That's a beautiful intro. Thanks so much. I guess, the story dates back to probably the start of James and I's friendship. We're best friends, have been best friends for probably 11 years, yeah. We met at uni.
Day one of uni, was it?
Selection day.
Selection day.
So we're kind of before,
like
you do 6 months
interview
before.
day, if you like.
So you hit it off even before you even...
We didn't actually.
Yeah, I don't think we actually liked each other the first day.
Yeah, I kind of remember looking at James and being like, interesting fellow, that one. But we studied hospitality management.
Okay.
And so I think I think it makes sense that we are doing what we're doing now. We've never worked. I've never ever done anything professional that hasn't been linked to hospitality.
Really?
Yeah, never.
So this is in your blood. This is your passion. This is your love. This is what you guys want to do. It's what you wanted to do as a degree.
Yeah, I think we always kind of joked about opening something, be it a weird cafe in Rio de Janeiro or something, and then at some point post-graduating. Good, thanks. Post-graduating, both had like kind of normal jobs because we went with an amazing hospitality school, but they managed to somehow make it a little bit uncool to want to work in hospitality. So we bought into that and we're like, okay, well, let's go work in hospitality, but in an office. Everyone just wanted to be in a big corporation in an office. And that's what we both did. And then after a year of that, both quickly realized that's not what we enjoy doing. And hospitality is such a great industry because you can invent something so easy. Like compared to, in the pharmaceutical world, trying to invent something in that, mind-boggling.
Yeah, it can take a lot of time. I see what you mean.
In hospitality, all you've got to do is just try and move the needle a little bit more towards perfection each time when you open something. And that's what we try to do. But we obviously, me and Flo, quite hands on hearts and not chefs. And so we spoke to each other about what concept can we do in London, and that's kind of how we ended up at this.
How long ago? You started talking about ideas and concepts.
2019 was when James came to me effectively and said, I've got this idea. Which is actually 5 years ago. It feels like a long journey. We've only been open for 3 years because there was, as I'm sure you'll remember, a small little world event that happened.
Had you started at that point?
We had quit our jobs.
Okay, and then all of a sudden that happened, and it's like, right, we've got a bit of a problem here.
Yeah, we quit. We were 5 months into having quit our jobs, so we had no revenue.
It would have been a nice time to be part of those big corporations.
Yeah,
during COVID.
We'd love to milk that cow during that period.
Yeah, so it was a tough time.
Yeah. It was a tough time for sure.
In every way.
In every way, but I think it was a tough time. I think the brain tricks you. You forget the tough times in a way, and you remember the good stuff.
Someone said that the other day. Yeah. When the good times start to roll, doesn't matter how tough it was, your brain kind of can erase it, or actually look at it very favourably. It wasn't that fun.
No, I mean, COVID was tough, but I could definitely say now that it was the best thing that's happened to us as a business.
Sure. It gave us time to really think about what we wanted our business to be, what our brand to be. And while we've worked in hospitality in various roles and kind of in hotels as in restaurants and stuff, it's very different from starting your own thing. And so what we thought would be a relatively quick process, we had so much learning to do. And COVID gave us that time to do that, where Flo was back home in France and I was in London, and we just, day after day, Googling away, figuring everything out. And then on top of that, we were suddenly in a market which was super different than before when it comes to rents and business rates and all this stuff. And suddenly we could, as a brand, punch above our weight, I think. As a new brand, we would have struggled to find our store we had in Spitalfields, and it was the perfect first location. Like, couldn't have a better first location.
Yeah.
And I think pre-COVID it wouldn't have been possible.
Really, it was, you lucked out in terms of getting the right location, did you?
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, that location. I think a lot of people would be very envious of it. And we took a risk, to be fair. We signed it mid-COVID,
Yeah.
which was really, we just kind of thought, fuck it, this will pass at some point.
Yeah, I remember we opened kind of just before, the Freedom Day, or, that kind of time. And for sure, there was definitely a couple of months where we opened, which it was still really quiet. You really didn't have people back in the office yet. But it was perfect for us because, we made mistakes in that first store in terms of design, in terms of kitchen space, in terms of the workflow. And it was almost literally like the government was organising our soft opening. Mm-hmm. Every 2 weeks, they'd be like, okay, another 5% of people can go back to the office, and we'd have 5% more people in the queue. And we were like, oh shit, that 5% really hurt us, we need to build a fridge. But we had time to do it. And then it was amazing.
Wow, so that helped because obviously the growth was, you were able to manage the growth.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Generally, if we had the queues that we have today from day one, there's no way I'd be sitting here
Yeah,
today,
it would have been awful.
Hey, listen, if I'd have told you when you created this you're going to have queues outside your door, would you believe me?
I would have dreamt of it, but probably not. No.
When you see the queues, does it get you? Do you think this is awesome?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, for sure.
Completely. It doesn't get old at all. Like, it's super cool.
Never.
No, it's so cool.
No, but seeing queues are one thing, because sometimes that can be quite scary. But when you walk in and there's a queue and everything's calm, and you're like, you've just actually maybe like cycled past a store on the way from a meeting or something, and you're like, oh, I'll just pop in, massive queue, and your immediate reaction, I think, as a founder is like, oh, I don't know if I want to go in here right now, because you kind of expect it, queue and it's slow and it's chaos, and then when you come in and it's manager's like, hi James, you all right? And you're just like,
My favourite thing.
That's a lovely validation that everything's cool.
My favourite thing is I go in the queue and I don't have music or anything. And when people have lunch, when office workers go down to have lunch, the only thing they speak about in the queue is the concept they're in. Like, literally, like, it's just
small talk.
It's small talk, right? And it's just so interesting. You just sit there and you just hear what he's, what he's having, what he loves, what he doesn't like. You hear the person behind be like, oh, like I love this place, or sometimes you hear like, oh god, this place is a bit expensive. Like, you hear lots of different things.
So it's great market research.
Oh, it's amazing, honestly. And usually when people are in the queue, it's that they like what you're doing. So usually 90% of what you hear is very positive stuff. So if you need a bit of an ego boost, just go sit in the queue and listen.
This is for me a really interesting sector. Like, I kind of wish I'd done something in this sector, which is why you can probably tell I'm so interested in this, because it was a conversation I was having with a friend quite recently, which is having a lovely meal in a London restaurant. And just down the road, another lovely restaurant has opened. Spent a lot of money on the, but it's not as busy as this one.
Right.
Can you think? Is there a formula? Because my friend was saying, do you know what the whole point is? It's really hard to work out what the formula is. Mm. Is there a formula for the success? How do you get people queuing at your door?
Mm. Question.
Yeah, I think we're obviously a very different type of restaurant to the one you described, so
of course,
I wouldn't be able to know that formula at all.
Yeah.
For us, I think obviously we just provide something that people genuinely want, and there isn't a huge amount of it around outside of us.
No.
And so
exactly right.
And so we genuinely provide it in best value, but also like really what they want. And I think a big part of it, in a weird way, is me and Flo really are our target market. And we have a wonderful Clem, who's our culinary director, who makes all of our salad recipes and stuff. And she makes them for us. And I think we are our target market. Like, we're people who want a big salad, who want someone who, a lunch that's going to fill them up.
Yes.
And, I think really do change perceptions of people who classify themselves as salad eaters. I don't think that's necessarily was us before the salad
I had
project.
a very small bloody dinner. I remember because it was such a feeling.
Portions is a huge thing.
Yeah.
I think I get asked that question. I was asked it yesterday or the day before, being like, what is the single thing that it might explain why people... And I don't think you can take one thing. I think hospitality is one of those things where you really don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
You just have to kind of, and this is, I'm quoting my business partner here, it's a good quote. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just got to put your spin on it, right? And I think I don't consider myself a particularly creative person, and I would really, and what James was saying earlier, I think I'd really struggle to invent the new tech app, SaaS. It just wouldn't, I just don't have. But what's great about hospitality is you just got to do the simple things right. And it really can work. So really focus on the service, like the design of the store. Is it beautiful? Is it nice? Is it inviting? Is the food tasty?
Spacious.
These are quote unquote.
It's really spacious, by the way.
Spacious. It's a combination of getting the simple things done really, really well. And I think that's what James and I are quite obsessed about. Is just fundamentally, I shouldn't be saying this, but there is nothing that revolutionary about the salad project. It's a salad bar that has great food, etc. But I think that the reason why people enjoy it is because we have put so much effort and detail and thought into everything that is needed for a restaurant to run. Food, ambiance, service, location, design, music, all these things. And I really think it's a combination of all these things that come in together.
You've nailed it. I've been ticking that off in my head.
Yeah.
As you go in, one thing I really liked as well is there's two things that really struck me. Gosh, I sound like I must be on commissioned for this, but I do love a salad, and I struggle to find a salad. So I'm really happy that I found this place where I can get this lovely salad. But sometimes you get, and sometimes the lettuce leaves might be a bit gnarly. I mean, it was as fresh as, so obviously the freshness is something that you've really focused on, because it was perfect. But I started to get a bit freaked out, because I was thinking, there's so much choice, I don't know where to begin. But I guess that's where you train your people, because it was very quickly explained to me, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I know exactly therefore how to do it, because there is a lot of choice.
Yeah.
And initially I thought, I don't know how to start with this. It was, I think there's a queue and you've got to be, you can't
Completely.
take too much time. But I guess that's where you've trained your team, because they kind of took my hand on that. Let's talk about therefore the growth here.
Yeah.
Because I read recently that you've actually controlled the growth. For example, you could have taken this a hell of a lot quicker than you have, but you're focusing on conquering London first. Was that creative journalism, or is that the truth? That's really what you're doing here. It's a case of conquering London, and then you start to move and think about how you start to grow bigger after that.
I think it's obviously the focal point of a lot of mine and Flo's conversations is we feel like we've got this amazing thing on our hands, and when trying to figure out the next steps. And fundamentally, that is opening great stores in London over the next couple of years. Okay. I think we've probably taken a decision to really be selective on our sites and kind of make sure we get great sites and not try and open too quickly and dilute our product too much, and suddenly be somewhere where we've done it out of speed of opening instead of really loving that location.
Yep.
But fundamentally, I'll let Flo contradict me or agree with me. Great sites in London that's what we're looking for. For us, our world revolves around Salad Project, and I kind of find it insane that people who can work in the city or Oxford Street don't know about us, and that's not an ego perspective at all. It's just from what I see, I would have imagined everyone would have walked past it and be like, "Salad's not for me." That's fine, but all four people in this room right now, apart from when you went 2 weeks ago, hadn't heard of the Salad Project, which is insanely positive for me.
Insanely positive.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, if you all heard of it and none of you had been there, then it'd be much more concerning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm trying not to, what do you call it? You don't call it cliches, what do you call it? Puns. I'm not deliberately using them. The thing I was about to say is it feels like you've got all the essential ingredients here, leading towards being able to really scale this out, because you've got the great product, lovely venues.
I'm just really worried about messing it up.
Really? Now, that's interesting you say that. You mean that, don't you?
I mean it. I think the more we enjoy success, the more I get nervous about messing it all up. So the more I find it, it's a very personal thing, I find it difficult to take the next decision. we've done the hard bit. We've proven the concept with the first one. We've opened another 5. They're all doing well. People love the food. We're fortunate enough to get invited to these kind of conversations, etc. So it kind of feels like it's a football match. A penalty's been given to us, and it's just now it's all about just making sure we don't fucking hit the crossbar or sky it, and that
keeps you awake at night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too dramatic about it, but,
it causes acid in the stomach.
Yeah, I mean, that is on my and James's biggest focus these days. Is just like really, really making sure that we don't mess up what it is that we've built, and making sure that every move that we make right now continues contribute to the brand and take away from it.
Because I would, as an outsider, I would suspect, seeing what you're creating, you are at a point where there must be opportunity galore with the offers and opportunities that will be presented with you. So that, I mean, we talk about mentorship a lot and people surrounding themselves with great people. Is it you two calling the shots here? Have you actually built people around you that are helping you to just, give you a bit of a sounding board as well?
I think we definitely have sounding boards, from advisory board members to a pretty good senior team at the Salad Project. But me and Flo do, obviously, we talk about things a lot. Right, from cycling home, you'll have a phone call and chat about, just thought, is this a good idea in terms of maybe we go this direction? But we talk about it a lot, and I think we genuinely have trusted our gut to get to this point, and I think that is fundamentally what we will continue to do.
Really?
Yeah, I think I think that's a special part of our relationship is. We complement each other very well, and we trust each other's opinion, and we bring the best out of each other, and I don't think we'd want to lose that.
I have immense respect for anybody who starts a business to get a loan. I mean, I don't know how on earth.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
It'd be horrible.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah. So they're very fortunate in that respect.
So big up all the Soul founders out there as well,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, as part of, listen, I'm an accountant by training, but I like to think of myself as a journalist these days. So, it sounds grand, doesn't it? So I like to do quite a lot of digging and research.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing looking at you guys is that you have managed to maintain control of the business, which is even more remarkable when you look at what you built. The stores aren't cheap. They have been done beautifully. So there's obviously a considerable amount of money that's gone behind this. Is that just something that you've been lucky to keep hold of, or is it so important to you that you maintain that independence and that ability to control the business at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, we have fundamentally been able to control it. We've obviously raised a bit of money here and there to help accelerate our growth, but we're lucky in two senses. The stores do phenomenally well, so
they
self-fund, especially from now on. They really do, and that's great, and that does, help take away a reliance on external investment. But I think fundamentally also the people who have invested in the Salad Project really, I think, invest in a lot of what me and Flo believe in and how we are as founders and our partnership. And they're there they always say we're here to help, but we're not here to rock the boat. It's all very friendly. People who love what we're doing and want us to just keep doing it. And
we obviously live in a world with everything that's kind of happened, with the slight economic crisis that we've been through, where profitability has never been trendier. And thankfully, in the hospitality industry, sure, we have to invest a lot in stores, etc. But it's not like tech. So we are profitable, and that is very appealing to a lot of people these days.
Would it take a lot for you to relinquish that control? Or do you think at some point that with the trajectory of where the brand's going to go, it may one day happen?
I don't know about the relinquishing control bit, but I know that there's a moment, you do have imposter syndrome, right? As founders, I think, where, you'd sometimes be like, these decisions that we're making now are big decisions, and they're impacting a lot of people and impacting a lot of, this isn't, should we add tomatoes on the line? It's big kind of life-changing decisions we're making.
Yeah.
And sometimes you kind of think, fuck, maybe there's someone better to make these decisions and, put them in someone else's hands. But fundamentally, no. I mean, I think we would never want to.
No, it'd be tough.
Yeah.
I'd say it'd be tough. Yeah.
The force is strong, is it? I can tell.
Yeah, I just love it. It's our baby. Honestly, it just is.
We've spoken a lot about the success. Obviously, all journeys have bumps What have been some of the biggest mistakes, or the biggest mistake that you've made, and I guess was it hard to bounce back from?
Hey, we make the mistakes every single day for sure, but I think, touch wood, for now, we have been fortunate enough to have not that many.
Okay.
I couldn't sit here and tell you tell you a real shocking story, which is a really nice position to be in. But one that I can think of is when James and I obviously have a lot of hospitality experience, but there's still some things that you just don't know. And so when we built our first store in Spitalfields, we really, really, really underestimated how much kitchen space we needed. And so we were left with this store that had huge, very huge front of house, very generous, etc., and this minuscule kitchen. And it's once it's built, you spend 350 grand in it. It's kind of like,
it's hard to change.
It's hard to change. So I mean, the amount of, and again, I think we've been so lucky because we've got away with it by adding fridges and shopping areas and places that you would have never imagined you could do. So that was a big mistake. But at the same time, it's so cliche and boring what I'm about to say, but mistake means opportunity, right? And so what that meant is, fundamentally, it taught us to have a menu that is incredibly simplified in terms of its process management, to really just be super lean and efficient in the preparation of our foods, from how we order to how we store to how we prep to cutting down on recipes to et cetera, all these things, which has made has been huge for our operations today. So in a way, had we not made that mistake, I think we probably would not be an efficient concept, or not have the kind of efficiency that we have today.
It's helping to repeat quickly, I guess, isn't it then? Because you know exactly,
exactly.
The rate that you're going, not to do that.
Yeah, but also even in that situation, I mean, what negatives really were there? I mean, we had to raise less money at the beginning we started increasing the cost of the Spitalfields kitchen once we were making money. So if that was our worst thing we've ever done, great, no issues.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, to save that fuck up, if you like, the Spitalfields store cost at the start half of what a store now does, but we have spent the other half improving it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's ended up costing the same, but we've had to spend that money constantly improving it, redoing this, adding this, etc., etc. So,
but honestly, if we had to raise that amount of money at the beginning, it would have been tough, and we would have given up more equity at the beginning, and it would have been harder to do. So.
Can I just ask? I guess 2 questions about the beginning. The name, because it's a cool name. It's an interesting name. The word project.
Florian James Limited.
That's the name of the company. Yeah, I remember that coming up in the. But it's called the Salad Project.
Pathetic.
So the project. What's the crack there?
Well, we had a different name before Salad Project, which we can reveal it. We were going to be called.
I don't want to hear it again.
Thank God. We were going to be called. That was so hard to find the name.
That would have been the biggest mistake.
That would have been
back
to your question. That would have been a FEBE fuck up.
Because the name is so important.
We were going to be called Project S.
For salad.
For salad, for sourcing, for sustainability, for seasonality. We kind of were like, oh, that's great. There's an S everywhere. Let's just call it Project S.
But no one would have had a fucking idea what it is without saying.
Well, that as well, and also, we take our sourcing seriously. We take sustainability seriously.
Yeah.
We take seasonality seriously.
Okay.
But to build an entire brand around these 3 pillars, we realised, thankfully, it was probably actually a bit weak. These are in our industry. I really find that these are like given now. Like any new concept is, of course, putting a lot of emphasis on sustainability. Of course, putting an emphasis on seasonality and its sourcing, etc. Building a brand around it and shouting about it all day long isn't going to make you different to anyone else. Isn't that special? It's in fact like, well, how dare you not be those things? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
I see what you mean. It's a given.
It's a given. It's a given. And so thankfully we stayed.
Was that the gut instinct again that stopped you from going ahead?
Well, I remember very clearly we were called Project S for a couple of weeks, and a friend of ours was visiting, and they were like, "So what's the name?" And me and Flo both looked at each other and was like, "I don't want to say it. You say it." And we were like, "That's probably not a good idea. That's probably not a good indication. We won't tell our dear friend the name."
Yeah.
But I think our name, when we were like Project S, and when I remember texting you, like, what about Salad Project instead? And it was
And was at the moment like,
yeah, and there was a question on the, and but,
and is the project?
You just said that story as if he's the one that came up with the name Salad Project, but it's actually inaccurate. It was very much a joint effort.
Yeah, sorry, I mean, not.
Just want to take the credit here on camera.
Because I said, I remember I said
Salad.
Project Salad, and he was like, Salad Project.
Yeah.
And
I also it was a 50-50.
Yeah, it's a joint effort.
You have been friends for so many years, and you can tell the friendship is insanely strong. Like, going back to the point earlier, being on your own would have been difficult, but I guess two best mates working together has obviously been a big part of the magic here, right?
Yeah, and we've been so lucky. I mean, we don't fall out. We just don't. And maybe actually, people are going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, that's not healthy. They should fall out." It's like really important to fall out because it means they're talking about things. But no, we just
You're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, and I think whilst we are very different actually, and so like I think we've really managed to. I think I've got quite a strong ego. I'll recognise it, and I think that James is incredibly good at not getting in the way of that, which
Really?
means it's really healthy. I think if I was to, this is a very personal thing, but if I was to have a business partner who had a very similar personality to me, I could see real potential for a clash. And that's just more, I would say, lucky to be complementary. Like, James doesn't have the ego that I do. And so he's good at getting out the way, and it works very well. It really does.
Yeah, I mean,
Because let's face it, that is where a lot of bad business fuck-ups happen,
Yeah.
where the clash, all of a sudden, especially when the success comes, the clash just becomes this, can't solve it anymore.
yeah.
And it just eats. I think it rots from the inside. It eats at you. I really think.
Yeah, I think what's so good about it is fundamentally we're incredibly similar when it comes to anything like outside of real tangible work. We're very, very similar. But then when it comes to like ways we work, we're actually pretty different. And so therefore, we don't tread on each other's toes much. But then every single thing we do, we have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
Like after this, we'll have a great chat about this whole experience.
We'll debrief everything.
It will be super interesting.
So, Flo, James, how many people do you employ, by the way?
I think across all stores, you're what, 115?
150.
150.
Yeah.
Jeez, that is a lot of people. So that's straight away leading us to culture, which is obviously the make or break for so many
Completely.
organisations. Your
That's
culture's
true.
got to be bang on. For you, what has been one of the things that you've been keen to create with the culture, and how do you attack it from the fact that obviously you're not all in one office. You've got you're split out across the city in the different stores.
I think the biggest thing that was a challenge for us was at the beginning in one store, me and Flo could set the culture so well, right? We were there every day from 7 to 10, and so from celebrating someone's birthday to the wins to going for drinks to whatever it is, we were really able to manage it. And then as you grow, obviously our presence becomes borderline irrelevant in the stores. And Flo did a lot of work, and I'll let him explain it, on really trying to make each store feel like they're a business and they have their own culture, as opposed to, obviously they feel part of the Salad Project and we try and celebrate things company-wide, but I think Flo did a lot of work on store cultures, which really has helped.
So the store culture then, tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, firstly, James and I have worked in hospitality a lot and have worked in horrible environments with angry chefs, and we were very clear from the get-go that...
I think of a very angry chef, a famous one. That makes me scared thinking about hospitality, to be honest with you.
I mean, it had that... for some reason, chefs, for many years, thought that it was a requirement of the job description to be a bit of an arsehole. We've tried really, really hard to never let that fly in our kitchens. But I think what's really interesting is and I took inspiration from the way the British Army is set up, which I'm a little bit embarrassed to say in a way, but
This is interesting.
it's really interesting because the British Army is, you've got the Scots Guards, you've got this regiment, etc., and they all have a subculture within the culture of the army, right?
Yeah.
They all have different uniforms, different rituals, different way of celebrating things, etc., etc. And I thought that as we obviously grew that past that kind of critical point of 100 people, where James and I can't be the culture setters anymore, it just doesn't work, and the sense of belonging to the salad project as a whole is becoming weaker and weaker. So I really wanted everyone in the stores to feel proud to be Salad Project Spitalfields or Salad Project Bank or Salad Project Mansion House or whatever. So that and create that kind of sense of competition amongst the different stores. We'd be like, oh yeah, we did this quarter, we won this or we won that, etc. So how do we actually materialize that idea? Lots of different things, but one is every store has a birthday, which is the first day it launched, and everyone goes out and has fun. And it was so cute. The other day, one of the stores went to Thorpe Park.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we put a bit of money and they all went to Thorpe Park with their families and celebrated the birthday of the store.
Yeah. Me and Flo aren't part of that.
We're not part of that.
We
don't get involved. It happens without even us knowing. It's awesome. And then what we did as well is we created name days. So every store has a name day, which is a little thing about the history. So for example, the bank store's name day is
Bank of England.
The creation of the Bank of England, because it's right next to the Bank of England, right? The St. Paul's one, the one next to St. Paul's Mansion House, is St. Paul name day, which is, I can't remember, but it's in the calendar, right? And I think it's small little things, and I can see how...
Such a lovely personal touch, though.
Yeah, I hope. I can see how you can look at it and just be like, what's this corporate bullshit? I can see that. But also, I do think that even if it works on 10%, 20%, 30% of the staff there, then you're winning, in my opinion. It's quite intense working in Salad Project. You've seen the queue. When it's pretty intense. So we really try and compensate that as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you see this being? If I was to say 3-5 years, what do you see the Salad Project being? Where's it going to be? How many? Which countries? Where's it going to be?
I'd love to be able to. I'd love to answer.
Yeah,
really?
I'd love to answer.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's the top one of the topic of conversations that James and I speak about the most.
Is it? Where is this
going? You know, I absolutely love what I do. I'm obsessed with our products. I think James is the same. I can really see 100% how the Salad Project could, be an international brand. I can see, I'm from Europe. I can see definitely how it could work there, etc. But I can't tell you that we'll do it today. I can't. I genuinely don't know.
My gut feel is it's going to happen.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
I think just fundamentally
Take it home.
Le Salad Project.
Le Salad Project.
Fundamentally, we're pretty ambitious, and we know that. So it will never be about taking the easy, safe option.
Yeah.
So once we decide what type of strategy we want to go for, I think we'll be pretty ambitious with that. We definitely have always tried to build a brand which we think is scalable, operational-wise, but also from a branding perspective. We've wanted to feel like a chain from day 2 of opening, like once we opened our second store. So we were kind of like, yeah, we're a chain. And we want everything to work seamlessly across all stores, very interlinked, don't want to be too niche with our messaging. We want to be able to, in theory, open in Birmingham, open in Southampton, open wherever, and feel like we belong there, as opposed to being just like a city brand in London. So.
I take a hell of a lot of satisfaction, from building a product that I'm very proud about.
Yep.
I think if growing quickly was going to take away from the quality of the product, I don't think I'd be prepared to do it. Yeah, but I think there are lots of different things that motivate founders. So there are people who take a hell of a lot of pleasure from building a business of, I don't know, selling toilet paper, but because it's a beautiful business model that makes a lot of money. I could never do that. That would never work for me. Like, I take a lot of pride in the product, and if we're able to continue to grow, where I keep the product gets better and better, and I don't have to make any kind of compromise on that, then I'm here for it all the way. But if it means having to suddenly say, oh, well, the stores are going to get smaller and the menu is going to get less exciting because profitability or whatever the reason, then I don't think I'll be interested.
I just got to say, thank you so much for coming in today.
No problem.
As I said, the salads are beautiful. Thank you for making salads so lovely. And I really cannot wait to see how many keep on popping up. and where this journey is going to go. I have a feeling you're going to be in our list for some years to come, which is going to be great because we're going to get to know each other really well. But listen, huge congratulations. You've been on an insane journey together in such a short period of time. I guess the next 5-10 years are going to be incredible. So well done.
Well,
Thanks
so much for having us. We're insanely proud to be on this list. It was super cool to even 12th. Yeah, that's solid. I was kind of like thinking, if we make it, we'll maybe be 90 to 100. Yeah, it's super cool. So thanks a million for having us and this opportunity.
Pleasure.
Thanks, John.
Cheers.
Thank you, guys.